All right, so in this lesson I'm going to talk about biomes. This is meant as an introduction of biomes. I'll talk about what they are and how they're classified. If you need to learn about a specific biome or kind of more detail on that, you'll have to do some research independently if you want to go into super great detail. Some terms to know here on this slide. Abiotic, biome, biotic, biodiversity, climate, ecosystem, and habitat. Those will be defined as we work our way through the lesson. Terrestrial biomes. Terrestrial biomes, or kind of land-based or land-classified biomes, are defined and classified by two things: climate and biodiversity. With climate, it is the typical atmospheric conditions in an area over a long period of time, sometimes called the average weather for an area. And with biodiversity, it's the variety of biological communities, the organisms, and their life processes. Okay? The biodiversity would be an example of biotic factors, okay, the living things in an environment. Climate would be an abiotic factor for a biome. So abiotic meaning the non-living things. Okay, so a little bit of a word builder here. Some of these are review, but we have the word bio from the Greek bios, meaning life. And then we have terra from the Latin terra, meaning land. There's terra. And then we have primary from the Latin primus or primarius, meaning first. So kind of knowing these words or these parts of words will help you out with your vocabulary with other related words. All right, so there are, how many biome groups are there? There are 5 core ones that we're going to go with. And I have this down here that how many there are really depends on the biologist or ecologist that you ask. Okay, there are some that have them listed between 8 and 12, some that split them up into 25 or more. Okay, we're going to go with 5 core groups: the aquatic, desert, forest, grasslands, and tundra. And then we'll be taking a look at the subgroups that are in each one of those main biomes. All right, so aquatic biomes are defined by water. So if it's an aquatic biome, it has water. So water is the common link among the 5 biomes. It also makes up the largest part of the biosphere, covering nearly 75% of Earth's surface. Aquatic biomes have their own special species of plants and animals. Without water, most life forms would be unable to survive on our planet. The aquatic biome itself can be broken up into 2 basic groups or regions. We have freshwater, ponds and rivers. Okay, pictured here on the left. Here's a picture of my son and some of his cousins playing out at Hicks Lake in Everett, Michigan. That's a freshwater biome. Here in the middle, that's looking out my back door or riverside on the Muskegon River between Everett and Hersey. So again, another freshwater biome. And then over here on the far right is a picture of the Atlantic Ocean. That would be a marine biome. These 2 groups of freshwater and marine biomes are defined by, whether it's freshwater or marine, is defined by the concentration of salt. Typically, freshwater is defined as water with a low concentration of salt, usually 1% or less. In marine, to be considered marine, it'll have greater than 1% salt. All right. So our next group that we're going to take a look at are deserts. See, there are 4 desert subgroups. Deserts cover about 1/5 of the Earth's surface and are defined as an area with rainfall less than 50 centimeters per year. So what makes a desert? A desert is the amount of precipitation. Okay, we have 4 main groups of deserts. We have kind of what we think of as the typical group here, the Sahara Desert here in the middle. This is a hot and dry. Hot and dry is one term, or one classification group. So we've got hot and dry here in the Sahara Desert. Our next group, we have the semi-arid. Okay, and this is actually a picture from the Great Basin out in the Utah and Nevada region, kind of our western region of the United States. And the last two are kind of oddball areas. We've got this one here. This is a coastal desert. This one's kind of unusual in that it's a desert. It receives, less than 50 centimeters of precipitation, but it's right next to the water. Okay, so the land, even though it's not getting very much, it's right next to the water. So you can have deserts next to the ocean. That's on the coast of Africa. And then the other oddball here in the Antarctic are the cold deserts. Okay, and again, we kind of think of deserts as being hot and dry. These are extremely cold, but they don't get much precipitation either, so they are considered a desert. And that's in Antarctica. Okay, our next biome is going to be forest, and there are 3 subgroups of forest. So forest biomes are biological communities that are dominated by trees and other woody vegetation. They can be classified according to numerous characteristics, but season is the one that's most widely used. There are 3 major types of forest classified according to their seasons, which is determined by their latitude, how far north and south they are of the equator. So season and latitude are how these are broke up. On the left here we have a picture of the Amazon forest, which is an example of tropical. Okay, so tropical forest biome. We also have temperate biomes here in the middle. Again, another picture from Everett, back on the Vanscoy homeland, okay, where my family lives. So that's a temperate forest. They are also called deciduous forests. We're going to use the term temperate, but if you see deciduous, we're really talking about the same thing. And lastly, we've got a picture from Alaska here. These are our northern forests that are called the boreal forest. And these also will have a second name sometimes called the taiga or taiga. These are going to be the northern conifer forests that you're going to find in northern Canada, Alaska, and in the northern parts of Russia. Next group, our next biome group are the grasslands, and those can be broken up into 2 subgroups. Grasslands are lands that are dominated by grasses, okay, rather than large trees or shrubs. So their defining characteristic, I think, is fairly obvious. 2 main groups of grasslands. They go, and again, once again, they have a couple different names. The savanna, or sometimes called tropical grasslands, and the prairie, or what are also called temperate grasslands. Both of these grasslands have little or no trees, although the savanna will have some small trees and shrubs, but they'll be kind of spaced apart. So that's what makes it different than the forest. Again, it's still dominated by the grasslands. On the left here we have our savanna. This is in Kenya, over in Africa. And then on the right is a prairie or temperate grassland in the western U.S. I believe, yes, this is actually a tall grass prairie in the northeastern part of Kansas. So that's our American prairie. All right, so our final biome that we're going to look at is the tundra, and there are two subgroups of tundra. Okay, tundra is the coldest of all the biomes. Tundra comes from the word tunturia, meaning treeless plain. It is noted for its frost molded landscapes, extremely low temperatures, little precipitation, poor nutrients, and short growing seasons. Not exactly the kind of place you'd like to call home, but some people do. Dead organic material functions as a nutrient pool. The tundra is separated into two types. The Arctic, which is one that we have shown here on the right in Alaska, with some musk oxen. That's kind of what most folks, this is your typical landscape you think of when you think of the tundra. Kind of those short grasses, maybe a few scrubby trees or shrubs, but very short growing season, very cold, and not a whole lot of rain. On the left is the other type of tundra, and we call that the alpine. Okay, similar characteristics as the Arctic tundra, but this one you can find any place in the world, not just in the extreme north or south. That one's due more to its elevation, right? So this example here is one from Colorado in the Rockies. You find these kind of biomes in places like the Swiss Alps as well. So that is going to do it for our lesson on biomes.